Samson and Delilah. A brief note. Again, this is one of the popular stories, which is historic, that is in the Bible. Samson's life, and then also Samson and Delilah. So let's continue to read. One day Samson went to Gaza, where he saw a prostitute. He went to spend the night with her. The people of Gaza were told, Samson is here. So they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the city gate. They made no move during the night, saying, At dawn, we'll kill him. A brief pause. The reason why is because he's been having issues with the Philistines. He liked a Philistine girl or woman, and then the woman ended up misleading Samson, or because the Philistine groups were telling Samson, they had all went to a party, and Samson gave a riddle, and they wanted to know the answer to the riddle, and so they threatened Samson's new wife, and she decided to go ahead and help. Whether it was out of being scared or just deciding, just going ahead and helping, she ended up helping and finding out the answer to the riddle through Samson. And Samson didn't want to tell her at first, but he ended up telling her, and it was bad. It was a bad deal. Okay. It was a bad deal. And so she still ended up being killed by them, by the Philistines, and which drove Samson into a rage. And then he went and killed some Philistines. And so the Philistines, they're ruling over Israel right now, because Israel was doing evil in the Lord's sight. So right now, the Philistines, they're not too happy with Samson. So they're trying to put him away. They're trying to get rid of him, kill him, etc. So that's the backstory from the previous Lamp Bible study. So let's continue to read. But Samson lay there only until the middle of the night. Then he got up and took hold of the doors of the city gate, together with the two posts, and tore them loose, bar and all. He lifted them to his shoulders and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. Sometime later, he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, See, if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength, and how we can overpower him, so we may tie him up and subdue him. Each one of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver. That tends to be a repeating pattern, especially back then, and especially in the Old and New Testament. People pay for, you can say pay for sinning, pay for acts of sin, pay for things. So they use money in evil purposes. And so, does that happen today? Bringing the past to the present? Unfortunately, yes. Nothing new under the sun. And so, here's this Samson. He's fallen in love with this woman. Her name is Delilah. And the Philistines went to her and are trying to bribe her into helping them. And so let's continue to read and see how she acts. So Delilah said to Samson, Tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued. Samson answered her, If anyone ties me with 7 fresh thongs that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man. Then the rulers of the Philistines brought her 7 fresh thongs that had not been dried, and she tied him up with them. With men hidden in the room, she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he snapped the thongs as easily as a piece of string snaps when it comes close to a flame. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. So now we see that Delilah was helping the Philistines, and whether it was for money or she really maybe not liked Samson at all, but she was helping the Philistines. Once again, Samson's dealing with another woman that he loves or likes and loves, and being betrayed or being mistreated in a way. So, mm, mm, mm. There's a lot here. There's sermon upon sermon. So, again, bringing past to present, present to future. Um, it can happen in relationships. Relationships can be one sided. And look out for those. Look out for those types of relationships, whether you're the man or the woman in the relationship. Look out for the one sidedness in a relationship, because it can and it will become obvious. Like, it may not be obvious to you at first, but it may eventually over time become obvious. One thing to do is always have your walk with Christ and know that each of you are having a walk. That'll help prevent a lot of the stuff, or change it, or stop it, or prevent it. But if it does, definitely seek the Lord. Keep seeking the Lord and keep praying, keep meditating on the word, and he will provide you guidance as to what to do. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind over the passages we've just read? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? So are there times that you have felt betrayed? That you really, whether it was helping somebody or in a relationship, especially in relationships, uh, was there a time that you felt betrayed in your relationship? A decision was made without you, or a decision was made with the intentions to not benefit you or not be helpful to the relationship or to spite you. What I mean, there's a ton of ways to look at it. Have you have you or I been mean or spiteful to someone? Have you or I mistreated somebody in a relationship, and led to it being one sided? I know one thing that is common, or I shouldn't say common, one thing that does happen. I'm guilty of it. So, you have people that you talk to, including friends and family and such. And one thing that people like to do is air out their grievances, right? Whatever's going on, the stress, what have you. And so sometimes, though, you could be talking to a person about it, and it's kind of like you get a different reaction, um, or you are told to stop, even. So at that time, you may feel hurt, or you may feel like something's wrong and you didn't do anything. But we have to understand, at the end of the day, every single person has grievances. Every single person has things that they go through. And so sometimes it can be overwhelming. So it's a reaction that can happen. And I've done it. I've talked to somebody about grievances, and to a point where it would be like half of the conversations were about grievances, my grievances, right? And so when it comes to that type of relationship with that person, you can, in some terms, people would say burn it, or um, dissolve it, or just it not go into a good direction because of it. Because that person may they may not want to hear anymore, or they may not be understanding because they may not be able to associate with the feelings that you're feeling, which is genuine. And so, and vice versa. Some people have come to me to air out their grievances and their issues. And after a while, sometimes you're having a day where you're just like, I don't want to hear anything negative. Like, there's so much going on. I can't deal with another issue. And so when it comes to all of that, where we mess up, where I mess up, is not relying on the Lord and giving it to the Lord and understanding that the Lord is there as well. And even having this discussion with the Lord, whatever that grievance or issue may be, to feel at peace, to feel more, to have it released, and know that you've been able to talk about your grievance and such. And so that's one thing that we do have to look at. Now, what this has to do with Samson and Delilah, we will find out. Very interesting. Very interesting. Lots of thoughts about this. Lots of thoughts. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think?